Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to take a quick look at what Chris has been up to on his various platforms online, because he's been a bit of an idiot and he's made some very slanderous claims, not against myself obviously on this occasion, but on certain other platforms and against certain other friends of his. Yeah, he has. So this appeared on his YouTube, and somebody said, intrigued to know how the payload of this van with everything in it, water tanks full, food, clothes, etc., then add in 3 adults, 5 kids, is going to be well over its legal weight limit, which will make it totally unsafe should you have an accident. And yeah, very good points made, very good points indeed. I applaud you with the points that you've made, but Chris didn't applaud you, did he? Chris came back with inane crap as usual, and I just gotta call him out, I'm sorry. Chris said thus: Number 1, you realise that we aren't the irresponsible idiots that the trolls narrative would have you believe. Yes, Chris, you are not irresponsible. You are the model citizens of safety. In fact, you have safety officer Jace with you right there, and you know, I've got to say, right, this is how safe you are. This is how responsible you are as a person, you know. Don't take the troll's word for it. Obviously, I'm not a troll. I'm just pointing out things, right? Pointing out things that you've already said and done, in fact. And this, remember this from earlier? I pointed this out, the MOT from your failed MOT. Well, it wasn't your failed, it was the new owners of the van who failed it, but it was caused by things that you had done to the van. Do not drive until repaired. Dangerous defect, which means it's quite a dangerous one, you know, not something that you need to be tampering with or forgetting about or anything like that. So electrical wiring likely to touch hot or rotating parts, unsafe modifications, and just isolate that little term, unsafe modifications. Unsafe modifications, Chris. Who made the modifications? It was you that made them and made them unsafe, right? So that's pretty much all you need to know, really. You made modifications which were unsafe for your family, and yet you travelled round Europe up to Scandinavia for 2 months, was it? In an unsafe vehicle, because you did the modifications before you went away, and you were travelling all that way to through snow and all sorts of crap, right? In an unsafe van. It actually says it right here, and that makes you a responsible parent. Yeah, no, it doesn't. It does not make you a responsible person when you willingly travel around Europe in an unsafe van that you have actually made unsafe yourself. I have a theory that I actually think that you believe in your head that your modifications are actually top notch and perfectly safe. I truly believe you believe that, and all this has come as a bit of a shock to you when it's failed the MOT because of it. Anyway, but that's not the only thing that it's failed on, is it? It was the holes in the floor. I know I keep going on about the holes, but it just blows my mind that you'd put holes in the floor and it would fail the MOT, and then you'd sell it, right? It blows my mind, seriously. I just can't get my head around it. Anyway, yeah, it's got holes in the floor of the car, the vehicle. So yeah, there's that, but you have your excuses ready, don't you? In a recent spat with somebody on TikTok, obviously nothing like arguing with kids on TikTok, is there? Chris says there's absolutely nothing wrong with that van. It failed an MOT back in May because of the new owners cutting a hole in the floor to install an AC unit. Of course, silly me. It's the new owners. They've cut bloody holes in that floor, and my words, absolutely. You know what? You know what I can't believe, Chris, is that firstly, you would actually blame the new owners for doing it, right? But secondly, to believe your own lies or to believe your own narrative and to expect everybody else to believe it as well, it's just unbelievable to me. So basically, what you're expecting us to believe is that the guy bought the van blindly. Obviously, he didn't see it before he bought it, and before he did the MOT, right? Because this is just highly irregular, shall we say? Before he did the MOT, he started installing an AC unit before he did an MOT on the van. Is that what you're trying to tell me? Most people, right? Get this. I know it's a huge out. You know, it's a bit out there, right? So most people, when they buy a vehicle off somebody, they would, as a matter of course, go and get it MOT'd, right? Whether or not it's whether or not it's just recently been MOT'd or whatever, it's always good practice to go and get a new MOT just to make sure, right? So he will have done that. And in fact, he did do that, didn't he? But you think that he started cutting holes in the floor before he went to the MOT, which he knew, and I'm sure, I'm absolutely positive, he would have known if he'd cut a hole in the floor that it would fail the MOT. So why would he do it beforehand? You're an absolute moron, Chris. Absolute moron. I'm sorry. To even come out with that is just beyond my comprehension, right? And that's not all. He's your new bestie. New best friend, you said?
Me and the guy who bought the Sprinter from me originally, we've stayed friends and we talk on WhatsApp and stuff. And, he's always been sending me like pictures and videos of the upgrades that they've done to the van.
And then not to mention this absolute beauty of a comment. Chris is an absolute legend for just even thinking this, let alone writing it. He says, the new owners are my good friends and would never talk about me anywhere. Oh, Chris, they would never chat shit about you online. They're such good friends that they would never ever speak bad of Chris Ingham. Absolute legend. Aren't you, Chris? But you have absolutely no problem with chatting shit about your so-called bestie now that you've got his van back, yeah, and you don't mind dragging his name, although you haven't said his name, but dragging him through the mud here by saying that he was responsible for fucking up the van, and it was him that made it fail the MOT. Now, what you're saying is it failed its MOT because he put holes in the floor. Well, Chris, what about all the other defects on the van? That wasn't the only thing. In fact, that was not the worst thing that was on the van, and yet it failed with flying colours. It was an absolute atrocious test that you failed, right? So how do you explain all the other things that was wrong with the van, and yet he only put holes in the floor, in your opinion? So yeah, no, that doesn't quite stand up, does it? It's where do we go from here, innit, Chris? So I just think that bringing this guy's good name, anonymous name, through the mud is not really a responsible thing to do. Speaking of responsible, I have to say that Chris is an actual moron, right? Going back to the original point about him being a responsible person, we're not the irresponsible people that the trolls make us out to be. Well, Chris, I've got to say that the evidence begs to differ. Remember all those times when you've inadvertently, shall we say, put your kids in danger? You know, the one with Jason on the beach and I don't know, the more recent one where you zipped around the sea in that speedboat with your kids bouncing around with not being tied down or held onto or anything like that. So yeah, those occasions, that does not paint a pretty picture of the wonderful, amazing, irresponsible people that you happen to be. You know, the upstanding members of society that you actually are. In fact, not the irresponsible people the trolls make you out to be. Isn't that right? So that's just a couple of examples. Obviously, you know, there's many more that times you may or may not have, I don't know, put your kids' lives in danger. But, you know, this is just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. What do we guys think? Or you guys? What do you think? Do you think that Chris is a moron? Put that in the comments. Let me know if that's what you think. So, on that note, I think we're going to end. It's one more thing I would like to say before I go, because some of you, eagle-eyed of you, may have noticed that these screenshots were taken from a certain other website, right? That Michelle, no, it won't remain nameless for now, Tattle, right? So it's Tattle. Yes, I took the screenshots from Tattle. So what I wanted to say about this is, because I'm only going to say this one time, if you miss it, you've lost out. So I have no problem at all with giving credit where it's due. Credit, if I take things from Tattle, I don't mind. I'll say where I got it from. It's fine, right? I usually look for my own evidence when I put things forward, just to say, I've got it, it's mine. Or it's not mine, none of it's mine. I just get it from other sites. But my point is that when I do it and I give credit, I don't mind at all. However, things can and do change, right? Because I've noticed, well, for a while now, that things are not mutual. The feeling's not mutual. Myself and Tattle, we have this love-hate relationship. I can love them for all I like, but they don't reciprocate. Anyway, that's beside the point. Right. My point was that they don't give credit where it's due. So, with that being said, I think I would have to rescind credit where it's due from my part, right? Because if they are not allowed to give credit to me, then I can't give credit back. I'm sorry. I know that sounds quite, call me, what's the word you want to call me? Petty. Yeah, petty. That's a good word. I would like to just say, but no, I think it's fair. I don't mind giving credit where it's due. If I take something from Tattle, I give them credit. I always do, and they don't, and they won't, and that's their choice. That is their choice. But at the end of the day, if I do have information on my side and I get information and I do research and I do this, that and the other, and then they take it and post it as their own, then what can I say? I feel that is quite no, I won't say it. Yeah, that's where I stand anyway. I'm going to give credit to whoever I take. I always give credit, and they don't, so I won't either. I think that's fair. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough, so until next time, please give this video a thumbs up, comment all your thoughts down below and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Until next time, take care of yourselves and bye-bye.